it educated me that I had choices that I didn't know I had.
I never even considered the idea that I have a choice in what my funeral can look like.
I was surprised at the fact that you don't have to be embalmed. I thought that was something that you either were cremated and burned or embalmed and stuck in a box.
I was very moved by everything I saw tonight.
Because I've been ignorant about natural burials. And Terry and Darlene have started on a mission of not just educating themselves, but also educating me and hopefully others to have some options of the way that I might choose to do things differently in the world. We are not experts. We're learning on the go and sharing with you as part of a process to educate ourselves into how we might treat our bodies and the earth after we are no longer here. And so with that, let the night begin.
You know, baby, there's something that's been bothering me, and I'm wondering, I don't know, it's just heavy on my heart. I'm thinking that we ought to consider planning our burial, our funeral. What do you think about that?
Why are you talking about that? Where does that come from? I got a long way to go.
Well, it really was heartbreaking last year when your dad passed away. And it was difficult because I think your mom didn't have any plans about what to do. Your dad never expressed any interest in whether he wanted to be cremated or buried. And it was really sad to see you and your brothers getting in disagreements about...
It worked out okay.
Well...
It's okay. It's okay. I don't know. If you want to go do something, maybe you can just go and tell me about it or something.
Well, I don't want to think about leaving our sons with this responsibility.
I don't want to think...
I just want to take a look at it.
Okay. Well, I don't want to think about leaving them right now either.
Well, neither do I. I don't either.
Okay.
So I'll do a little homework on it.
Okay.
And then maybe we can talk about it again?
Okay.
Okay.
You can talk about it.
Well, it's been a month since we talked about this, baby.
Oh,
dang
it.
I
I
want
thought
you
you
to
would
know
have forgotten.
I did quite a bit of homework. And, you know, there are alternatives to, other than just being the traditional, conventional type burial, or cremation. And I've really gotten interested in it, and I think it would be an awesome way to sit down with our sons and talk about how we want things to be at the end of our life, so that the pressure's not on them.
So it sounds like this isn't an option.
No, it's not. I think it's important.
Okay, all right. So in a way, that's kind of how a couple years ago I started looking into this.
I actually came here tonight out of respect for a friend of mine, and I really didn't think I was going to get a lot out of this, you know. And then I realized that it's never too soon, you know, to start thinking about that I might, you know, you could go in a car accident. It's not that it's an age. And I work in a prayer room at my church, and so I'm really in touch with that you could die anytime. So I've always taken for granted it was kind of handled.
If you put some pre-planning into it, just a little bit, rather than when you're in crisis mode, you can have a beautiful celebratory transition. I mean, my spirit's gone. My spirit is making that transition to its original source. So I want my body to make that transition back to its original source.
Often we're in a very vulnerable place when our loved one dies, and we're not really thinking. It's up to you whether you think some funeral homes take advantage of that. I personally, that's my experience. Some, not all. I did not know what the embalming process was until 2 years ago, And now that I know, I would never have my dad embalmed. That's just what I know now. Is I'm looking at this different. I thought it was a law that you had to be embalmed. And then I realized through this studying that 95% of the world do not embalm their dead.
My prejudice is that I think most funeral homes are going to try and persuade me to make decisions that may not be necessarily what's best for me or my family member.
How long can the body be preserved when it's refrigerated? Because I guess my belief is that sometimes it embalmed to get some revenue generated, but also to give the family some time.
That's right.
For funeral arrangements and things of that nature.
And maybe brother or sisters in California and wants to come and they want to have a viewing.
Sure.
A body will hold up without being embalmed for about 36 hours. And when you do view the body, it's not going to look asleep. It's going to be gray, and people are doing viewings, and there is a way of doing it.
Was your question more around what do you do then if you're not going to
Well,
embalm?
partly from that, and the standpoint of, because my mother passed away, we were she was in a home, Hampton home, you know, and
Yeah.
it was just automatic. I mean, they just called, they asked which funeral home, and then it was just done. And
Yeah.
so what happened, how does that play differently if you're gonna?
Well, and I think it's about making your wishes known about what you want, because the body can be refrigerated for a period of time.
And who knows that?
The funeral home will.
Okay. So you can leave instructions, the funeral home doesn't have to embalm it.
No.
You
No.
can tell them just to refrigerate, put it there.
And there's some funeral homes that are out there that are resistant to change, and some are not. Some are seeing this.
Like my mother and father have already purchased my sister and mine's, plot in a cemetery. Now, do cemeteries have rules that you have to bury your loved ones in that plot in a
Yes.
metal casket?
Mhm.
Yeah, already. Okay.
They do, and not all.
I have a big resistance about even going to a cemetery, because for me it is a very dark place. It's not very uplifting. I think I'd much rather go to a shopping mall, and I don't like shopping malls. The idea of something that's open and natural, and a place for reflection, a place for celebration, a place for grief if it needs to be there, and a place for solitude, just really opened my eyes to the possibilities for my mom, for my wife, for myself.
Darlene and I started really looking into this natural burial. And the way it kind of was and the way it is today and what it might look like. And we do have a piece of land in Chapel Hill, northwest of Houston, that we are right now master planning it for this. For me, this isn't about making anything wrong. It's about another choice. To make the shift of doing this different, it's got to have some resemblance of the way we're doing it today.
I love this idea about people kind of being in a park and having it be, like sweet and bringing in new things, and not just being in a cemetery somewhere that's kind of cold or distant, and people might want to come to see me more.
I never realized the impact that a traditional funeral has on the ecology, and how many tons of chemicals and cement and things that'll be there for 500 to 800 years.
How many thousands of pounds of steel and all that. I never really thought about that.
I think the natural burial is a beautiful way to not contaminate the earth. It's a place where my family can come celebrate my life and just celebrate that beautiful part of transitioning. I don't want it to be fearful. I don't want it to be dark. And yes, you're going to have grief, but I want there mostly to be joy and celebration of the life I had and of my spiritual life.